So with facilitation, there's a lot that goes into it, and great trainers make it look easy.
Definitely. Equally, they can stand out on their own, right? We know who the lead singer is, right? Your content is Beyoncé. Welcome to the Sustain Train Podcast. I'm Xavier.
And I'm Alfred.
Before we even get started, make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Now that that's out the way, we want to jump into a topic that's one of the most critical parts of any training strategy, and that's training facilitation. Now let's be real. It's one thing to build a deck,
right,
and talk about a certain topic. It's a whole nother ball game to lead a room, drive conversations, and deliver learning that actually sticks. So with that being said, we want to kind of jump into what exactly is training facilitation.
Hey, great question. For those that don't know what training facilitation really is, what all it takes to truly facilitate a training, starts with first knowing your audience.
Yes.
Do your research, so that you are prepared for who you're about to train. Right? And be prepared. It's a lot of preparation that goes into facilitating. So it's a lot of upfront work that you want to get done so you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you're in that room, in front of this audience, make sure they're engaged.
Yeah.
Keep it fun, keep it spiced up, and just be able to read the room. Know when it's time to pivot. Know when it's time for a break.
Yes.
Maybe even time for some snacks. Snacks always help when it comes to training.
Always.
Know when to just stop with the lecturing and then take it to hands-on training.
Right.
You got to really know how to read that room. Even if you practice a certain script when it comes to your facilitation plan,
mm-hmm.
It may get derailed sometimes just because you notice that the room is not engaged.
Right.
You got to know how to just push things along and simplify that content, especially with SAP. It can be very complex. So you want to already have things planned out to where you're going to make it a little bit easier for them to digest that content.
Yeah.
Whether you have illustrations that you're using,
mm-hmm.
Maybe a video, or just some everyday life stories that can relate to the actual training that you're doing.
Right.
It's just like a doctor at the end of the day. A doctor has to practice their craft.
Yeah.
You can't be a doctor one year, then not a doctor the next year and think you're going to come back.
Right.
That's
why
and
they're
build some
practicing
operations.
medicine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how it works with training.
Yep.
Facilitation. So you have to, and I'll just even say this. I remember in the pandemic, when facilitations on site took a back seat because everybody's at home,
right.
During the pandemic, during COVID. During that time, we might have done some remote trainings that we had to do, but it's not the same as being on site in front of people. It's totally a different ballgame.
Not at all.
And so when things opened back up and we began traveling again,
mm-hmm.
and it's been a while, it's been some months.
Yeah.
It's rush to be expected. But to minimize that, we had to prepare.
Preparation.
And already know that this is going to be a challenge.
Right.
And so with that in mind, even with professionals that facilitate, just keep in mind how even with this whole trainer stuff that they try to throw around to customers.
Yep.
And you put these folks in positions to then train their whole organization, and they never practiced, never put in that work, never had the experience, and with this system specifically, they're set up for failure.
It's not going to happen.
So with facilitation, there's a lot that goes into it, and great trainers make it look easy.
Definitely.
And so just to give you a preface of what that is before we go further, I just wanted to explain exactly how complex training facilitating can be.
That's spot on. And I think a lot of people take that for granted when it comes to training. Everybody's not a great facilitator.
Right.
And if you can't read the room and be able to pivot and shift, like you said, you're gonna lose the room.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're dealing with adult learners at the end of the day. So they want to know the why behind the processes. How is this gonna help me in my day-to-day operation?
Mm-hmm.
How am I gonna benefit from this when it comes to my job? So you gotta approach it more like a peer and not a lecturer. This isn't, English 2301. I'm not standing up there lecturing you guys. I want to have a conversation. I want to build trust with you so that when I begin facilitating, I know how to pivot because I've gotten to know them on a personal level.
Right.
I can bring up the game that took place last night between the Suns and the Trailblazers because I'm doing a training facilitation in Phoenix.
Right.
Well, that's going to relate to them a little more. Now I can bring them back on track and we can begin moving forward with our training.
Absolutely.
But if you're not a facilitator, so to speak, you don't have that experience to read the room like that and the ability to pivot. And that's what makes a great facilitator, the ability to be able to pivot like that.
Man, you spot on with that, bruh. Let's move on. So what strategies do you implement when you plan to facilitate training?
One of the things that I try to focus on is understanding that not all learners are created equal. You're going to have different levels for different people. How they say different strokes for different folks.
Exactly.
So you have to approach it that way. We're not teaching kids, so you're guiding professionals that already have some skin in the game. They've already been doing this. They've already been performing at a high level, hopefully. In most cases they are. And they have habits already. They already have expectations that they're bringing to the table. So I would be a fool to come into a situation thinking that I am dictating something and just talking at an end user versus talking to them,
right,
helping them to grow. So my strategy is always to respect their knowledge and never talk down to them.
Right.
I've been in a training room observing, right? Just observing an independent consultant. And one of the things that I am privy to and can notice is that if you don't have the experience necessary, you're just not good at it. It's going to show.
It will.
And what happens is that facilitator, supposed to be facilitator, when those end users, because they are adults and it's not making sense to them and they push back and they ask you these questions and you can't provide an answer to their satisfaction, so they question that person gets frustrated. And now instead of being that great facilitator, you're flustered and you're backtracking and we're just going to end class here and we'll pick up tomorrow. Versus, taking that on the chin and saying, being completely transparent, hey, I don't know the answer, but I'll definitely find out and get back to you, whatever the case is. But that's the difference between a good facilitator and a non-facilitator. Engage their mindset, right? This isn't pedagogy. It's more of andragogy. We not put it like this. Got the perfect example. If I'm training a kid on how to shoot a jump shot correctly, I'm going to assume that kid has never shot a basketball.
Right.
So I'm going to focus on them having their L tight, elbow tucked in, and fingertips arch follow through. Well, if I'm training an adult on how to shoot a basketball, I'm not going to automatically assume they've never touched a basketball before. That would be dumb of me. So I'm not going to say, hey, make sure you got your L and then we're going to fingertips arch follow through and focus 6 inches above the front of the rim. At some point in their life, they done shot a basketball, right? So I'm just going to observe how they shoot a basketball. I'm going to sit back and watch them for a minute. And then I'm going to come to them and say, hey, Alfred, man, I noticed that when you released the ball, you tucked your thumb. When you tucked your thumb, it made your hand turn left. When your hand turned left, the ball drifted.
Right.
So when you release next time, I want you to focus on keeping that thumb out.
Right.
That's respecting them as if they they bring something to the table. So this is what you're dealing with when it comes to training facilitation. Don't think that you are the all in all and that's all. And now you're being condescending and things of that nature. You want to make sure that you're open-minded, transparent, and that you are respecting their time and their ability at the end of the day.
Right, right. Hey, that's good, man, because you want to make the training a two-way learning experience.
Yes.
You know, you're going to teach them some things, and then you also want to listen and ask questions so they teach you some things.
Right.
So you can make it more relatable. Like you know the system.
Right.
Right? You just want to make sure you understand their operations, their pains. And when I say pains, that's really up to the person that you're training.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's going to be different for each person.
Exactly. One person's pain is different from the next person's pain.
Yeah.
And the one person's learning style is different from the next person's.
Exactly.
So you have to be aware of these things as the training facilitator, as that expert, because they're depending on you to learn this system. It's all on you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And one thing I want to add is you were talking about making sure you answer questions you can and get back to them for things you can't.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to answer questions that you don't really know the answer to.
No.
Don't be afraid to not know everything. It's okay. It's actually normal to not know everything.
Right.
So don't pretend
Nobody's going to know everything.
Don't pretend like you do.
Yeah.
Even if you're up here supposed to be the expert trainer and expert at this system, you're not going to know everything, especially since different customers, they operate differently. Mm-hmm. In the warehouse, they have different customers, you know?
Right.
And so the way you operated your training at the last place is going to be different from this new customer.
Totally different. Yeah.
And so just have an open mind, making sure that you're continuing to learn from them as well.
Right.
Because you're going to look like a fool if you just providing answers that are not true.
False
right?
answers
Exactly.
to try to make yourself sound better or sound smarter.
It's best to say, hey, you know what? Let's parking lot that.
Exactly.
I'll get back to you tomorrow with the answer.
And there's really no other way.
Exactly.
So we discussed what training facilitation was, some of the strategies, to improve training facilitation and what it takes to be a great facilitator. But what are some do's and don'ts that, come to mind when it comes to facilitating a training session?
Okay. So some do's, you definitely want to keep it engaging. If you know your room can handle it, keep it competitive as well.
Yeah.
Because that sparks a lot of competition, that creates high energy.
Yep.
Creates excitement.
Makes it fun, man.
Makes it fun. And then that leadership is going to hear all the rowdiness and they'll be like, oh, they in here learning.
Exactly.
And enjoying it at the same time.
Right.
So get to the point quickly where they can enjoy, what they're learning.
Yeah.
And also, you want to encourage peer learning because when somebody can train their counterpart or even train you, the trainer, that means that they're getting it.
Exactly.
It's improving their confidence. They're now able to take it to the next level where they're ready to learn some troubleshooting skills.
Right.
Right. So you want to see that progress week over week. And that's all on you as a facilitator to get them there.
That's it.
And one thing is when these peers are teaching each other, they're using their own acronyms, their own internal language.
Yep.
That also helps it resonate a little better. But because you're the facilitator that got them to that point, now they're able to flourish. So that's just what I have on that.
I love it, man. The main thing I got from that was how those end users can develop their own internal language. And if they're teaching it back, that's going to do nothing but improve your retention rates. Mm-hmm. Because now they're not just digesting the content, they're giving the content back in their own way. If you're able to do that, you're moving forward.
Right.
Some things I'll add to that, those are some things that you want to make sure you're focused on doing. Some don'ts, I'd say, from a facilitation standpoint, don't try to dominate the conversation.
Right.
Or just don't dominate the conversation. You mentioned it. It's a two-way street. Mm-hmm. You don't know what they're retaining if you're the one talking all the time?
Right.
Like, this is a training session. This is not a lecture. Again, going back to that lecture word. But, you know, you get on the phone, you got friends that call, or friends and family.
Right.
You know, whether that's mom, dad, sister, brother, whoever. I hate when I get on the phone, ring, my phone ring. Hey, what's up? It's not how you doing, Xavier. It's not, are you busy? They just start talking. And I can't get a word in. The whole conversation is dominated. You look up 5 minutes later, I'm just silent on the phone because I can't get a word in.
Right.
You got people that's training that way. And then the training is a failure. Why? It's not the end user. It's the facilitator.
They didn't check in.
Didn't check in. You don't know where they're at because you're not going to where they are. You're not meeting them where they're at. You're just talking. Another thing I would say don't do. Don't read from the slides. You know, this not a 6th grade PowerPoint project. You're not standing up in front of your Mrs. Patterson and describing the best vacation you want to ever go on. So one thing that shows is if you're not reading from the slides is that you, for one, understand the content at a high enough level to be able to break it down to a level for someone that isn't as well versed as you.
Right.
The other thing is when you're reading from the slides, when you get frustrated, I'll go back to that frustration story. You try to rush through it.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't put you on a hot seat. Like, man, let me hurry up and get this class over. I got to get back to this hotel, get me a drink, and relax because they're killing me right now. If it's rushed, it ain't right.
It ain't.
I'll put it like that. Don't speed through your deck. Your deck is a helpmate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's an accessory. It's the background, so to speak. It's not the lead singer. You know, so let's take Destiny's Child. You got Beyoncé, Michelle, and Kelly. Now, equally, you know, they can stand out on their own, right? We know who the lead singer is, right? We know that's Beyonce.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, your content is Beyonce. The deck, and this is not a knock at Kelly and Michelle because they great in their own right, but that's the deck. Right. You know, that's to enhance the delivery, right? Right. Separately, they all can stand on their own, but collectively, when Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle come together, it's fire. Right. So, you know, focus from a facilitation standpoint, focus on your delivery and don't spend all that time on a deck. And when you do have that deck, don't just rush through it. Use it as a tool.
Hey, man, you spot on with that. But hey, that's the end of this episode. Thank you all for staying tuned. If you got this far, you're rocking with us. Man, much love for the support you all are providing. And we just kind of touched on some things when it comes to training facilitation. First of all, what it is. Right? And also some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to facilitating.
Definitely. Really
highlighted some good tips that you can take with you on your journey with your next transformation project. And also kind of gave you some of the, you know, variations of strategies that you can take, such as, you know, train with your peers, train the facilitator, you know, some of the things that's going to keep your people engaged. Right. So again, thank you all for joining. And go ahead, like, share, subscribe. Keep up with what we got going on. We always have new stuff coming every month at the least. So until next time, stay inspired, stay empowered, and stay on track with sustained training.